While I cannot get into specifics today of what we will announce on Budget Day, I can identify some principles that are guiding our discussions. First, election commitments will be implemented on the basis of affordability. Our latest Blue Book has many progressive commitments, but our resolve to manage the Treasury wisely will guide decisions on timing. Second, the size of government cannot grow further. We have witnessed rapid growth in the size of the public service, with positive impacts in many key areas, but we must be mindful of the need to constrain spending growth. During our last contract negotiations, the valued skills and contributions of our public service were recognized with a substantial wage increase, and it was long overdue. A more moderate approach is now required in light of our fiscal forecasts. Third, innovation and efficiency in the delivery of government services is necessary. By creating Service Newfoundland and Labrador, we are emphasizing how technology and smart delivery can produce better client service for the same cost. We must benchmark ourselves against other governments to identify areas where we can be more productive. And municipal governments must look for more opportunities to collaborate in the delivery of regional services, not through amalgamation, but through cooperation that improves their economies of scale. I have the utmost respect for those who serve in municipal government. I cut my political teeth in municipal government on the Bjorn Peninsula, and I understand the challenges and the responsibilities. I look forward to our continued discussions and collaborations with those organizations in our province. Prudent fiscal management can be the underpinning of every decision of our government, must be the underpinning of every decision of our government. We do not believe that raising taxes is a good option in a province just getting its wings. That said, everyone must play a part as we take control of spending growth. It is a fundamental part of making our success sustainable. This past November, I announced a new cabinet, a leaner cabinet, which reflects my priority that our government operate as efficiently as possible while providing quality programs and services that meet the needs of the people of our province. Work is continuing in earnest in anticipation of the opening of the House of Assembly on March 5th, and boy, am I looking forward to that. I look forward to the presentation of our speech from the throne, our legislative agenda, and our budget to our colleagues in the House of Assembly and to the people of the province. While we talk about fiscal sustainability, the discussion has to include the shift to renewable energy. Right now, a significant portion of our revenue comes from oil, making budgeting and fiscal forecasts extremely challenging due to fluctuations in production and in price. While oil will play a very important role in our economy for many years to come, it is non-renewable. The key to our sustainable future is in renewable energy, and that future substantially rests with development of the Lower Churchill, beginning with Muskrat Falls. Our vision for our transition from an oil-reliant economy to one based on renewable energy is laid out in our energy plan, which we released in 2007 and has been a pivotal component of the Blue Books we presented to the people of the province for their consideration in the last 2 provincial elections. So the vision we have about moving Newfoundland and Labrador forward from an economy that's based on non-renewables to a renewable economy was laid out in that visionary document in the fall of 2007. We went to an election with that laid out there as our vision, and we will return with a substantial majority. We went again this fall with the same vision, the same energy, and were returned with a substantial majority. So that is an endorsement by the people of the province of this vision. For generations gone by, The undeveloped hydropower resources of the Lower Churchill were for Newfoundlanders and Labradorians like a treasure just out of reach, tantalizingly close, but never close enough to enjoy. The gatekeepers of the natural transmission route through Quebec were denying us fair opportunity to get the power to market. And having been burnt once on the Upper Churchill, we were determined not to let that happen again. Our government firmly believes developing the hydropower resources of the Lower Churchill is the key to a sustainable future for our province over the long term. Muskrat Falls is a venture that will pay for itself through lower energy costs, new export revenues, and new opportunities for economic development here at home. Having said this, we are not wearing blinders, and we are not prepared to tie ourselves to any scenario unless it is in the best interests of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians. To that end, we and Nalcor have engaged in one of the most thorough and open processes that any proposed development project in this province has ever received. It is crucial to determine if this project is indeed the best option for meeting our province's energy needs. This determination is achieved by answering two simple questions. Do we need the power? And is Muskrat Falls the least cost option? They're the two things we need to answer. An independent review by the internationally respected energy consultants Navigant validated Nalcor's assessment that Muskrat Falls is indeed the least cost. Our own province's Public Utilities Board will provide its full report by March 31st. As part of that review, the PUB has contracted Manitoba Hydro International to provide its technical expertise and to produce a report. I understand the release of this report is imminent. Memorial University economist Dr. Wade Locke has concluded Muskrat Falls is the least cost option by a factor of $2.2 billion. It is interesting to me that the most vocal, and I might say even predictable, critics of the Muskrat Falls development were quick in their attempts to disparage the work of Dr. Locke, something they had not done previously when Dr. Locke had presented on, for example, the province's financial position. The Government of Canada has also reviewed the Muskrat Falls project and has concluded the proposal is in the national interest, worthy of warranting national support through the provision of a loan guarantee or equivalent financial support, in effect making a project that was already deemed cost-effective more so. Work is progressing well in finalizing the guarantee. I have to also address the fear-mongering by some when it comes to the risk of cost overruns for Muskrat Falls. Yes, there is a risk of cost overruns, as there is in any major project, and we have built in contingencies for that. But if we were to pursue alternatives other than Muskrat Falls, the potential for cost overruns still exists on construction, and even more worrisome on escalating fuel costs. But the bottom line here is we need the power, and if we never sell any of the surplus power, development of Muskrat Falls makes sense. Frankly, we don't say we can't build a hospital because there might be cost overruns. We don't choose not to build schools, highways, and ferries because of the fear of cost overruns. We plan as best as we possibly can and make decisions that are well-informed and in the best interests of our province. Fear cannot cloud our vision. Once the reviews of Muskrat Falls have been completed and we have the reports from Manitoba Hydro and the PUB in hand to supplement the findings of Nalcor and Navigant, debate on the proposal in the House of Assembly will be informed by the best information possible. Then the time will come to make the decision on whether to proceed with the Muskrat Falls project. Far from a rush of judgment, the Muskrat Falls decision is one that has literally been decades in the making. A decision that has received more consideration, more expert analysis, and more in-depth scrutiny than any other in our history. There are some people haunted by the infamous Upper Churchill contract who see its ghost in every time development of the Lower Churchill is put on the table. For those people, no project will ever be good enough and no amount of scrutiny will ever be long enough. But we must remember, failure to take the right course of action today will be no different than taking the wrong course of action a generation ago. If this project is sanctioned, it will mean an enormous increase in economic activity in this province. Think of the impacts on your businesses. During the 6-year construction phase, it will generate some 18,400 person-years of total direct, indirect, and induced employment in the province, with peak direct employment of about 2,700 in 2013. The total income boost for labour and business in the province during the construction phase will be over $1.4 billion, or on average $220 million a year for 6 years. Add this to the work that is being generated by the Hebron project, the Hibernia expansion, and the White Rose expansion, work that has resulted from fair deals brokered by our government as we have built a collaborative relationship with the oil industry. As Natural Resources Minister, I was very involved in that process, and the message was clear from our partners in the industry. Tell us what the rules are. Negotiate in good faith. Give us clarity on what you expect from us. And that is exactly what we did, and that's what we will continue to do. Add all this to the mining projects, mine expansions, mineral processing, ferry construction, and ongoing infrastructure initiatives, and you will get a picture of the level of activity that will be happening in our province in the next several years. The beauty of Muskrat Falls is that it bridges out beyond the years when offshore oil returns are forecast to decline, toward the period when the Upper Churchill rights will return to Newfoundland and Labrador. It represents a shifting of our balance in our economy from growth grounded on non-renewable energy to growth grounded on renewable energy. It provides a low-cost, stable energy source we can use to attract new enterprise and a fuel that in surplus we can sell. We have been challenged by the Auditor General and others to reduce our reliance on oil. Well, this is how it happens. This is the beginning of the tectonic shift that will provide a new foundation for sustainable growth for generations to come. This is one of the reasons why our blueprint for Newfoundland and Labrador's future is entitled New Energy, because harnessing this treasury of renewable energy is the very cornerstone of the sustainable future we are working to build. Traditional industries like the fisheries and mining are vitally important to our future. So too are modern industries like oil and gas development. But at the heart of a sustainable future is the harnessing of our renewable energy potential, principally hydro. This is the kernel of our comprehensive energy plan released in 2007. We've embraced the plan. The people of the province have endorsed that plan. Now it's time to put it to work. Imagine the potential. Hydropower is a resource that Newfoundlanders and Labradorians can harness in perpetuity, generation after generation, to sustain strong and thriving communities, power which industry can buy to generate wealth, power we can sell to generate more.